Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Dieter Melhorn Fishing Podcast. I hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be listening to the show. I'm going to tell you about some of the cool things I found and discovered at iCast, the international fishing show that was taking place down in Florida this week, and some of the things that were kind of disturbing that I didn't like seeing. So, the show, just for a little bit of background for people that don't know, it's the biggest fishing show in America. Some people say the world. I think there's one in Japan that's actually bigger. But they have vendors from all over the world there that are there. There is everything from fly fishing all the way up to high-end saltwater fishing gear that is there. And it's always interesting to take a walk around. I've been going for 3 years now, and I've seen some stuff change. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but the interesting part I find from the catfish world, where I do a lot of my content creation around, is that there's still only one vendor that is there in attendance that has a booth specifically for catfish, and that's Catfish Pro. They are a partner of mine, and they're the only one that's there. There are some catfish rod makers, tackle people that show up and visit the show, but they're the only one that actually has a booth dedicated to catfish stuff. And Whisker Seeker is there. They are part of Pradco, I believe, which is a bigger conglomerate that owns a bunch of tackle companies. And they were there, and they had an interesting development this year that's pretty cool. We're going to talk about that in a second, too. But, from the catfish world, not a lot of tackle. One of the biggest missing chunks this year, this is kind of one of the bad things, is a company called Pure Fishing that owns a lot of fishing brands that you know out there. And, one of those under that umbrella is the Ugly Stick stuff. And no Ugly Stick this year at all, period, anywhere. None of that stuff's there. They took up a big footprint in this show. This is a massive show. If you've been to the Catfish Conference, it's probably 50 times bigger than that. Probably more. It's a massive show. It's huge. And there are, in the day when Pure Fishing was there, they took up a space almost as big as the Catfish Conference, if that tells you anything. Maybe 3/4 the size of the entire Catfish Conference. Half, I don't know, somewhere in there. It was huge. They're no longer there. They have decided to do their kind of tackle show, vendor awareness area at a new facility they have down in Charleston, South Carolina. So a shifting of gears there, changing the tide. iCast has been the place everybody went to. It's part trade show, it's part party, but it's a good sampling of what's going on in the catfish world, or in the fishing world, not the catfish world. Is actually the opposite for the catfish world. There's really, like I said, not that much presence there as far as stuff goes. But people do unveil some new stuff there from the catfish world. Catfish Pro had their new rod, their glow-in-the-dark rod. Medium action, thank you for coming out with the medium action. I'll have some more on that rod here when I get back. I'm supposed to have some waiting on me when I get back to the shop. And I'll put together a review of that rod and let you know about that, what it looks like. And, they had some of their other stuff there, the baits, the reels, all that kind of stuff. And they talked about some of the new stuff coming up that we'll get to once that actually happens down the road, but some exciting stuff on the horizon there for them. And then, Whisker Seeker, another brand in the catfishing world. They were a standalone brand for a long time, then they got bought by somebody. But they had a bait bucket cooler thingy. I think it's called the Bait Shack, and I taped a little short with them, and they won an award there at the show, which is cool. One, that they won the award. Very hard awards to win. What happens is members are able to vote, and I went and voted on different products for different categories. And there's probably, 75 or 80 different categories. And you enter stuff. It could be a lure, it can be a rod, it can be a reel, it can be a rod holder. And they had this bait cooler that is solar powered, which I thought was really cool, and multiple bubblers in it. And it won an award there at the show, which we got to thinking and looking. I think it's the first time a catfish brand has ever won an award at iCast, and that's pretty cool. So, some cool stuff going on there with what they had going on. So, but I did a lot of walking. It's hard to find stuff, especially in, out of the hundreds of vendors, and I talked to several people about this, there are probably, I don't know, maybe 5% of them that have some type of product, something that is appealing to, on a wide scale to like my following, the people who watch my channel. So one of the things I found, besides the Catfish Pro gear and the Whisker Seekers cooler, was a company, and this is an interesting story behind this, that had drift socks. I saw some drift socks on display. Drift socks are something you see me use anytime I'm doing any drifting or trolling for fish, whether it be catfish, bass, whatever. And I saw these on display, stopped and looked at them. Some really good designs on them. I'll have some videos on these things later. But I was looking at this name, and it was called Versa Drift, I believe is the brand, but there was another thing there that said VersaFlex. And I was like, I've seen that name before. Why have I seen that name? I've seen it before somewhere. And all of a sudden it hit me. This guy who makes these drift socks also makes TV gear in the TV world that I come from. And these are the harnesses that you see sound guys wearing. And for 20 years, I've seen that name VersaFlex on the back of these harnesses. And anyway, the lady there was nice enough to find him. He was roaming the show. He came over. It turns out we know about 8 or 10 of the same people. So he's come up with a drift sock that's truly unique. Some of the stuff he's put into it. And I'll have more on that. It's a one that is expandable by zippers, which is a different approach to it. The back can be closed up completely. You can actually turn the smaller drift socks into a carry bag. And he's got a good product there. So that was cool to see. Like I said, I'm going to try to get a hold of some of his products, put them on the boat, show you how they work and how they perform. And he makes custom ones. His is one of the unique products, 100% made in the U.S. And you guys that are adamant about getting U.S.-made stuff, this guy sews all his stuff. I believe he's in Ohio or New Jersey, something like that. So that's a cool product. I'm actually excited to get that one out on the boat. As am I, the Catfish Pro glow-in-the-dark rods. Going to do some night fishing when I get back, probably into August, September. So the kind of bad thing, the pure fishing absence was part of that. The other thing is, I was there on Thursday, and the floor is open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is usually the crazy day. Everybody's there. I think Steve Harvey was there this year. Bill Dance is there. All the big name people are brought in on those days. Some of them carry over into Thursday. And then usually by Friday's kind of like, let's get this stuff wrapped up and get out of here. But I was there on Thursday. I went Wednesday and Thursday a couple of years. I think one year I went Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Friday. And Wednesday's kind of chaotic. It's really crowded. A lot of people want to get in and get out. Some of the sponsored anglers kind of want to do their tour and get out. So I kind of stayed away on Wednesday. Thursday, I was thinking, be a decent crowd, and it honestly looked like a Friday. Friday can be kind of slower, a lot less foot traffic. There were not as many people there as I expected. I don't know how much of the absence of pure fishing had to do with that. I heard there were some other brands not in attendance. I didn't particularly notice it. Some of the big ones are still there. Yeti was still there. Z-Man was there. Shimano was still there. Gamakatsu had a big display there. But I heard there were some other ones not in presence. And the area on the floor that was covered, a couple of us noticed that too, that it did not expand as far as it did in the past. So I don't know how much of that is a sign of the economy. Is there an economic slowdown? Because You got to remember, this is a show that doesn't sell stuff to you and I. This is a show to where they're trying to find the big customers, the dealers, the shops, the Walmarts, the academies, the Dick's Sporting Goods. This is where they do those kind of big deals, not an individual sale to an individual. So a lot of times these things can kind of be a barometer of what's going on in the overall economy. And I don't know if it's that, if it's just an industry thing with things being much more internet where you're watching this right now. Is there more of that presence in effect that is, doing away with it? Well, like with pure fishing, they shifted the gears there. And it's like anything in life, nothing stays the same. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing stays on the same path forever. But, there's definitely a shift. There's a palpable shift in this show and what's going on, and it will be interesting to hear it from some of the people that are more into the industry. Mine is a kind of little cursory glance at it that I see from my little bitty world and my little bitty niche that I'm in, but it does seem like stuff has shifted a little bit. It may be a better deal for some of the smaller vendors. I don't know. I'd love to get some feedback. If there's anybody in the fishing industry that happens to watch this, drop a comment. I'd love to get your feedback on it. And, like I said, a lot of people don't even know what iCast is. If you're kind of into the fishing world a little bit, you kind of learn what it is. But, again, it's not something you can go to. It's not something you can just show up for and buy stuff. So it's a little different than going to, like the Catfish Conference or something like that, or some of the other major fishing shows around the country. So, but that's kind of my perspective on it. I just, it feels like things have simmered down a little bit. Maybe some of that could be a bias on my part from being there a few years. The first year is like amazingly big, and it was bigger. It was more crowded. I went and looked at some of the video to make sure it just wasn't me. But I was there on Wednesday the first year, so maybe Wednesday was really crazy. But I don't know. It just seems like stuff's a little bit different. But like I said, I'm going to have some video content about some of these products I've seen. I'm going to reach out to Whisker Seeker, see if I can get their bait shack and try it out. And it seems like a good way to keep bait alive in a very small kind of compact way. You guys that are bank anglers, I think this thing will appeal to you. I can put a 50, 100-gallon bait tank on my boat, but you guys that are bank anglers need something you can carry, and that's something that is cool about this small bait tank. It's a very good little product there to use. So keep you posted on that. We're going to put those glow-in-the-dark Catfish Pro rods in medium action. Thank you. They got a new aluminum reel seat on them too. I'll show it all to you once I get back and get them together and get it all going. So I'll be dropping some shorts on the channel of some of these products that I saw out there, so keep an eye out for those. And as always, I appreciate y'all watching and subscribing. Subscribers have jumped up a bunch here recently, so I really appreciate it. Thanks for checking out the channel. We'll catch you out on the water.